You are holding it all together so tightly right now that I know it physically hurts to take a full, deep breath. I know that feeling so intimately. It is that silent, invisible hum vibrating just under your skin, a frequency only you can hear, telling you that if you look away for even a single second, it will all fall apart. There is a profound, heavy quiet that settles into the corners of your home during these early postpartum days. It is not a peaceful quiet. It is a loaded, expectant silence, thick with the weight of your own hypervigilance. You sit in that dimly lit nursery, surrounded by the muted slate shadows and the beautiful, cluttered evidence of this new life, and your nervous system is essentially running a marathon while you are sitting perfectly still. This is the living blur. Your mind is endlessly tracking time, how many minutes since the last feed, how long the nap lasted, the rhythm of their breathing, the subtle shifts in their tiny temperature. It is a sensory overload so absolute that it becomes your baseline reality. You have convinced yourself that your constant, unwavering vigilance is the only thing keeping this fragile ecosystem intact. And so, you hold your breath, you clench your jaw, you wrap your shoulders inward, creating a physical shield around your heart and your baby, bracing for the next cry, the next need, the next wave of overwhelming responsibility. It is a heavy, conflicting mix of the most profound, agonizing love you have ever experienced, tangled up with an overwhelming sense of confinement. You look at their tiny, perfect chest rising and falling, and you feel the weight of their entire future pressing into your sternum. The smell of sour milk, the endless piles of laundry that look like monuments to your exhaustion, the rhythmic, hypnotic sway you do. Even when you aren't holding the baby, it all becomes a continuous loop of motion and anxiety. You are terrified of making a mistake, terrified that if you miss a single cue, you will somehow ruin the delicate balance you have fought so hard to establish. We rarely talk about what is actually happening inside your brain and body during this season. We talk about the baby blues, we talk about sleep deprivation, but we rarely discuss the visceral, physiological reality of postpartum anxiety. When you become a mother, your brain literally rewires itself. The amygdala, the fear and alarm center of your brain, grows and becomes hyperreactive. Nature designed it this way so you would be fiercely attuned to your baby's survival, so you would wake at their slightest whimper. But nature did not account for the isolation of modern motherhood. It did not account for the fact that you are navigating this profound biological shift without the village that was meant to hold you. So, your alarm system stays on. It gets stuck in the on position. That invisible hum beneath your skin is your body steeped in a constant cocktail of cortisol and adrenaline. It is the fight or flight response, locked in a closed loop, convincing you that rest is dangerous. This is why the thought of stepping away, even for 10 minutes, triggers a visceral fear. You are completely exhausted, your spine is aching from the awkward nursing angles, your chest feels tight with unspoken worry, yet the idea of walking away from your baby feels like stepping off a cliff. You are carrying the full emotional and physical weight of another human being's existence, and society tells you that a good mother does this with a serene smile. But the reality is that you are surviving in a state of high alert. You are pouring from a cup that is not just empty, but cracked and leaking. And this is exactly why the intervention of a simple 10-minute sanctuary is not a luxury. It is a biological imperative. It is a critical reset for a nervous system that is dangerously close to short-circuiting. The world outside your window continues on its normal axis. People are commuting to work, drinking hot coffee, having uninterrupted conversations while you are trapped in a twilight zone where day and night have lost all meaning. This profound disconnect between the external world and your internal reality only amplifies the anxiety. You scroll through social media at 3 in the morning, seeing curated images of serene mothers in perfectly clean nurseries, and the comparison feels like a physical blow. You wonder why it feels so impossibly hard for you, why your chest is constantly tight with a panic you cannot name. But what those pictures don't show is the biological reality of sleep debt. Sleep deprivation is not just feeling tired, it is a profound physiological stressor that alters your cognitive function, heightens your emotional reactivity, and makes the simplest decisions feel insurmountable. Then comes the moment of intervention. The quiet, careful opening of the nursery door. The arrival of your partner in the dim light, offering a gentle smile and safe, steady hands. "I've got this," they say. "Go take a shower." In a logical world, you would leap at this offer. But in the altered reality of postpartum anxiety, the immediate reaction is not relief. It is a crushing, suffocating wave of mum guilt. Your hypervigilant brain screams that handing them over is a failure. That if you were just a little stronger, a little more patient, a little more natural at this, you wouldn't need a break. The physical handoff of your baby becomes a slow, trembling transfer of trust and weight. You hover your hands over theirs for a second too long. You rattle off a list of unnecessary instructions about how to hold the bottle or exactly how to sway, desperately trying to maintain control over an uncontrollable situation. And as you finally pull your arms back, leaving the baby in their care, you feel a phantom weight against your chest. The solitary walk down the hallway is one of the strangest journeys you will ever take. The space between the nursery and the bathroom feels impossibly vast, echoing with the sudden absence of the tiny body you have been tethered to for months. You are stepping out of the ecosystem, and every cell in your body is resisting the separation. It is a strange, almost out-of-body experience to watch someone else soothe the child that grew inside you. You want to trust them, you do trust them, but your nervous system has not yet received the memo. As you walk away, the floorboards creaking under your bare feet sound unnervingly loud. You pause halfway down the hall, holding your breath, straining your ears to hear if the baby has started crying yet. You are practically willing yourself to turn around and rush back into the room, to reclaim your post, to put the heavy mantle of responsibility back onto your own exhausted shoulders. It takes immense, active courage to keep putting one foot in front of the other, to force yourself away from the epicenter of your anxiety and toward the space you so desperately need. But then, you reach the door. The heavy, decisive click of the bathroom door, shutting out the rest of the house, is the first physical boundary you have drawn all day. This enclosed space becomes your temporary sanctuary. It is here that the armor begins to fall. The soft, shuffling rustle of your clothes dropping to the cold tile floor is the shedding of a dozen different roles. You are not a milk supply in this moment. You are not a soothing mechanism. You are not a schedule manager, a diaper changer, or a human pacifier right now. You are simply a human being seeking warmth. The sudden, immersive rush of warm water hitting the ceramic tub is a shock to the senses, a loud, glorious white noise that finally begins to drown out the internal hum of your anxious mind. As the gentle hiss of steam starts to fill the room, the harsh, cool reality of the day begins to soften. The visual palette of your world shifts from the muted, stressful shadows of the house to a cocoon of warm amber and pearl white. Stepping into that stream of water is an act of reclamation. As the water traces down your exhausted spine, it brings a profound tactile grounding. For the first time all day, your sensory input is solely about your own comfort, your own warmth. The water hits your shoulders, physically pressing down on the tension that has been living there, forcing the muscles to uncoil. The temperature of the water begins to work its magic on your nervous system, initiating a physiological downregulation. The parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest pathway, finally receives the signal that the immediate threat has passed. The alarm bells in your amygdala begin to quiet. The water is a barrier, a literal and figurative shield between you and the demands of the house. In this 10-minute window, the only expectation placed upon you is to stand there and breathe. There is no one to hold, no one to rock, no one to feed. The rhythmic drumming of the water against the ceramic tub mimics the white noise you play for your baby, but this time the soothing soundscape is entirely for you. It drowns out the phantom cries that have been ringing in your ears all day. It washes away the sticky residue of spit up and sweat, but more importantly, it begins to wash away the invisible layer of stress that has calcified on your skin. And then it happens, the long, shuddering, echoing exhale of total physical surrender. It is a breath you did not even realize you were holding. Sometimes it comes with tears, hot and fast, mixing with the shower water, tears not of sadness, but of pure, overwhelming release. It is the dam breaking. It is the realization that you do not have to hold the world right now. You can just let it all wash down the drain. The steam rolls across the frosted mirror, blurring the harsh edges of reality into a soft, forgiving focus. In this blurred, warm cocoon, you find a moment of profound, absolute stillness. You can literally feel the warmth seeping back into your tired bones, filling in the hollow spaces left by exhaustion and worry. The isolation of the bathroom, combined with the heavy sound of the running water, creates a sensory deprivation chamber that allows your mind to finally stop tracking time, tracking breaths, tracking milestones. You are just existing. You are a body in water, returning to yourself. And as the frantic energy washes away, something beautiful happens. The silence in your mind allows you to hear what is happening outside the door with clarity rather than fear. Through the wooden door and over the sound of the shower, you hear it, the muffled, safe, reassuring baritone of your partner gently cooing to the baby. You hear a soft giggle, or perhaps just the quiet murmurs of a safe, settled infant. The world did not fall apart because you looked away. Your baby is safe. They are loved. They are held. And suddenly, the guilt dissolves, replaced by a profound, grounding realization. Stepping away is not an act of abandonment. It is the most essential act of preservation. Surrender is not failing. Allowing yourself to be cared for, allowing yourself to take up space and demand 10 minutes of peace is the bravest, most vital way to sustain your love. You cannot pour from a shattered vessel. By standing in this water, by letting your shoulders drop and your breath deepen, you are repairing the vessel. You are doing the silent, invisible work of mothering by first mothering yourself. When you finally turn the water off, the air feels different. The silence is no longer heavy with anxiety. It is light, cleansed, and peaceful. You will wrap a towel around your shoulders, clear a small circle in the steamed mirror, and look at your own face, softer now, more grounded. You will walk back down that hallway, back into the living blur, not as a martyr running on empty, but as a woman who has reclaimed her center. You will open the nursery door and reach for your baby, and this time your hands will be steady. Your heart will be quiet. You will be ready to hold them again, because you finally allowed yourself to be held by the sanctuary of a simple, quiet moment. This is the truth we must hold on to as mothers. Our children do not need us to be perfect, flawless, machines incapable of fatigue. They do not need martyrs. They need us to be whole. They need us to know our own limits so that we can teach them how to navigate theirs. When you take these 10 minutes, you are breaking the cycle of maternal self-sacrifice that tells us we must disappear into our children to be worthy of them. You are modeling a gentle, profound self-respect. So the next time the invisible hum gets too loud, the next time the walls of the nursery start to close in and your breath gets trapped in your throat, I want you to remember this sanctuary all. I want you to remember the feeling of the water washing away the weight of the world. Hand the baby over. Walk down the hallway. Shut the door. Let the armor fall. Your love is strong enough to withstand a 10-minute pause. Your nervous system deserves the reset. And you, my beautiful, exhausted, perfectly capable friend, deserve the warmth of this quiet sanctuary. Breathe deeply. You are doing a magnificent job.